Hi everyone. In today's challenge, we're going to solve this problem. The problem name is find the highest altitude, and the problem number is 1732. Alright guys, so as usual, first of all, we are going to clearly understand this problem statement. After that, we're going to move to the logic part. We're going to see how we can solve this problem. And after that, we're going to move to the implementation part. We're going to implement our logic in C++, Java, and Python programming language. Fine guys, now let's see what this problem says, right? So problem says there is a biker going on a road trip. Fine. The road trip consisting of n plus 1 points at a different altitude. And the biker start his trip on point 0 with altitude equal to 0. So guys, there are always going to be n plus 1 point in a trip. Is that make sense, right? And 0 point is given that 0 point going to have nothing but 0 altitude, right? This is a point and this is altitude, right? A 0 point is always going to have a 0 altitude, and it is also make sure that 0 is going to be always point initial point for the biker, right? Now you're given an integer array gain of length n, where gain of I is the net gain in altitude between points I and I plus 1. So guys, now what we are given an array of size n, and the name of that is nothing but we can say gain, right? So let's remove this one and let's write a gain, right? Now what this gain array do, or what this gain array tell us, right? So gain of 0 is tell us that the altitude changes, or the change in altitude is nothing but we can say gain of 0. Let's say gain of 0 is 4, so we can say the altitude change from 0 to 1 is nothing but 4, right? If gain of 0 is nothing but let's say minus 2, so altitude change between 0 to 1 is nothing but minus 2. That means altitude decrease by minus 2, or we can say altitude decrease by 2. If it is 4, so altitude increase by 4, right? Simple logic, isn't it? Don't worry, we are going to understand with example 1, but try to understand the problem here, not a logic part but problem, right? Now what we have to do, return the highest altitude of a point. Alright, so we have to return the highest altitude of a point, right? Now let's understand this problem everything with example 1, right? So remove everything. So guys, they are given nothing but you can see gain array is nothing but 1 2 3 4 5. So there are 5 elements in this gain array. So that means there are going to be 6 points, right? 5 plus 1. So let's make up points 0 1 2 3 4 5, right? So these are nothing but 6 points, right? And we can say this is a point, this is going to be altitude, right? And one more thing which is given nothing but gain, right? So let me write a gain, and gain I'm going to write in different color. Gain is given nothing but we can say minus 5 1 5 0 minus 7, right? So this is nothing but gain, right? So we can say guys now, let's remove this thing and let's write in this index, right? Minus 5 1 5 0 minus 7. Now guys, we have to find the altitude. So we all know that at point 0 altitude is always going to be 0. They have mentioned in the first line, right? In the second line. Alright, so now the biker start his trip on the point 0 with altitude equal to 0, right? Now what we have to do, we have to find the altitude at this point, this point, this point, this point, at this point. Then we have to return the maximum, right? Highest altitude, right? So how we can find the altitude at point 1? We know that point at altitude point 1, the changes is nothing but minus 5, right? Means altitude decrease by minus 5. So earlier it was 0. If we decrease we can say altitude by minus 5, then what we are gonna get? We are gonna get minus 5 only, right? So let me use a here also different color. So we are gonna get nothing but minus 5, right? Now on this point, second, the altitude increased by 1. So we are gonna increase by 1. So minus 5 plus 1 is nothing but gonna be 4. At point 3, altitude increased by 5. So we are gonna increase by 5. It was minus 1, right? So we are gonna increase by 5. So we are gonna get nothing but 1, right? Minus 4 plus 5 is nothing but equal to 1, right? After that, at 4, the altitude neither increase nor decrease, it remains same, right? So we are not going to do any changes in this, right? After that, at point 5, altitude decrease by 7. So 1 minus 7 is nothing equal to minus 6, right? So we got this altitude array, and you can see the maximum altitude we are getting 1, isn't it? I hope it makes sense, right? So we are going to return answer 1. Simple thing. Now in example 2 also you can see same thing is going to happen, minus 4. Or should we do it as well, right? Okay, let's do it this one as well, right? So we are having, let's do it quickly, right? So we are having just consider from this example 1, we are having minus 4 minus 3 minus 2 minus 1 4 3 2, right? So our point altitude initially is going to be nothing but equal to 0. Does that make sense, right? After that, altitude decrease by minus 4, so we are going to say decrease by minus 4 is going to be nothing but equal to minus 4. Then also decrease by minus 3, so minus 7. Then also decrease by minus 2, then minus 9. Then also decrease by minus 1, then minus 10. Then increase by 4, so minus 6. Then increase by 3, so minus 3. Then increase by 2, so minus 1. So this is nothing but we can say altitude our array. So what is the maximum value here you are getting? 0 only, right? So you can say we are going to return our answer 0. So answer you can see also in output we have 0. So this was the basically problem understanding part. I hope you understood the problem, not the logic part. I don't we can say assume you from you that you have understood the logic, but you must understood the logic part, right? So all right, so now let's move to the logic part. But before that, let me summarize this thing. We are given first of all gain array. We also are given that we are going to start from 0 point. We have the altitude also is nothing but equal to 0, right? Okay, now let's move to the logic part and let's see how we can solve this problem, right? And logic is not going to take a more than 2 or 3 minutes, or it may take, but the logic is really very easy. Even it's not going to use any concept as well, right? So let me write here logic. And what logic is going to do? Let's take only first example. We have this gain array, right? -5. So let's do nothing but like this. Gain -5, 1, 5. Let's write a comma 5, comma 0, -7. And we are given a point as well, right? So point is nothing but initially 0. So don't write here. We all know that. Now we are given altitude, right? We have to find the altitude, but our main motive is to find the altitude, right? So initially altitude is going to be 0, right? The next altitude will be what? 0 plus, or we can say what is the value over here at 0 index. 0 minus 5 is nothing but -5. Then next altitude is nothing but going to be equal to -5 plus 1, which is nothing but equal to -4. -4 plus 5 is nothing but equal to, we can say, 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 minus 7 is nothing but -6. So we can say this is our altitude. Now we have to just find the maximum value and we can return 1, right? Simple logic, guys. Nothing else. We just need to make our altitude with the gain, right? So we can say previous altitude plus the gain on that index is nothing but equal to the current altitude, right? So let's move to the implementation part and let's see how we can implement this particular thing, right? So let's first of all go to browser, and here guys I'm first of all with the Python, right? So let's implement with Python. So what I'm going to do with first of all, let me find the length here, length of gain, which tells us that how many points we are going to have and how many gains we are given, right? So points is going to be always n plus 1. So let's make our altitude array, which is going to be nothing but let's say 0, and we can say 4 underscore range of, let me write here this range of n plus 1, right? So we have make an altitude array of n plus 1 size, and by default I have given the value is nothing but equal to 0, because it also going to help at the initial index, and we are going to say result is equal to 0, which we are going to return highest altitude, right? So let's make it a highest only, right? Instead of result, highest altitude is initially but nothing but equal to 0 only, right? Now guys, we are going to say for I in range of n, right? Now I'm going to calculate the altitude of next we can say next point, which is going to be equal to the altitude of let me write here altitude, what is going to over here, altitude of I plus gain of I, right? Now let's understand this if you are not getting this particular part. See guys, this was nothing but, if we can say at point 0 we were having this particular thing, right? At point 0 we are having altitude 0, right? But at point 1, what is the going to be altitude? Altitude of 0 plus gain of 0, isn't it? So I'm going to the same, I'm doing the same thing. Altitude of 1 means I'm at 0 index, so altitude of 1 is going to be identical to altitude of 0 plus gain of 0, right? After that we are going to say our result, not result, highest should be equal to the maximum of highest comma altitude of I plus 1, right? I hope this makes sense. Now after that we are going to return number nothing but our highest. So this is nothing but it gonna do the we can say it's here what we are doing, we are first calculating the altitude, then we are finding the maximum one, right? But here what we are doing, after calculating the altitude of that particular point, we are keep checking that whether it is the highest one. If it is the highest one, store in our highest variable, so that we don't need to check again that what is the highest after calculating the altitude, right? After that we can simply run this particular code, right? So let's see whether test cases are getting passed or not, and I hope so it should get passed, right? So you can see guys, both the test case pass. So let's try to submit this code as well, and let's see whether it gets submitted or not. Here we go guys, right? So it successfully got submitted. Now let's move to the next programming language, which is nothing but we could say C++. So quickly what I'm going to do, I'm going to say vector. Before that, let's calculate the size. Int n is equal to gain dot size, and then make a vector, and here the name I'm going to give altitude, and size is going to be nothing but n plus 1, by default value 0, because it's going to help us to make we can say 0 value at the point 0 as well, right? After that we can say 4, no 4, before that we have to make a int highest, which is going to be equal to initially 0, right? Now we are going to say for int I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, altitude of I plus 1 is going to be nothing but equal to altitude of I plus gain of I, right? Once this is done, we are going to say highest also should be equal to maximum of highest and altitude of I plus 1. After that we can say simply return our highest, right? It makes sense, right? It's an easy problem, right? And what we are doing actually, just we are just using a loop only, nothing else, right? And here also we got an error because we haven't used a semicolon. Fine, now let's run this code and see whether we are getting any more error or not. And I don't think so we should get, right? You can see both the test case passed, so let's try to submit this code as well. And let's see. And it also got submitted, guys, right? So now let's move to the last programming language, which is nothing but Java. And here first of all calculate the size, which is going to be nothing but gain dot length. Then you're going to calculate you're going to create an array of altitude with the size n+1. So we can say int altitude of n+1 node here, new int n+1. And here we are going to say altitude of 0 is going to be nothing but equal to 0, right? We know that at point 0 altitude is always going to be nothing but equal to 0, right? And here int of highest is going to be nothing but equal to 0. Once this is done, we are going to say for int I is equal to 0. Let me write here I less than n, I plus plus. Here we can say altitude of I plus 1 is going to be nothing but equal to altitude of I plus gain of I, right? And here also we are going to say highest is, let me write highest is going to be nothing but equal to math dot max. We can say highest, and here we can use our altitude of I plus 1, right? Altitude of I plus 1. After that we can simply return our highest, right? Now let's run this code and see whether it's working fine or not, and see whether it's working fine or not. You can see, guys, both the test case passed. So let's try to submit this code as well, right? So let's see. And here we go, guys, right? It successfully got submitted as well. So guys, we have successfully implemented our logic in C++, Java and Python. And also we have seen the logic part. We have understood the problem statement with the examples. If you have any kind of doubt in 3 sections, you can write in the comment section. I'm always there to help you. And if you learn something new in this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe my channel. Meet you in the next video.